Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
Excited to be
Cheers.
back. Don't worry. I got this nice throwback theater can.
Well played.
With her trademark charm and humor, Caitlin Clark pulled back the curtain on everything from her transition to the WNBA to locker room rumors to what actually happened in those gritty college matchups. She pulled off what no one saw coming and did it live via Zoom in a no-holds-barred interview with WNBA legends Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. From the moment she stepped onto the screen, it was obvious that this wasn't going to be your typical feel-good segment.
There we
Well
go.
Our show loves it. Our show loves it.
However, what did she actually say, and why is everyone in the basketball community talking about it right now? Stay tuned because Caitlin didn't hold back about a lot of things about Paige Beckers, Diana Taurasi, and even the blatant lies that Sheryl Swoopes has been spreading about the team. Are you ready to let's go? It was the callback that went viral online a year ago, when Diana Taurasi looked into the camera and sent Caitlin Clark the now famous warning that reality was approaching.
The league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
This year, it goes without saying that Diana broke her promise. Clark's reply was a confident smile, a small nod, and a smirk. The energy was electric, humorous, and lighthearted, but it was also a statement.
Congrats on
you've
your
been watching the
retirement,
first
D.
half.
Thank you.
And congrats
Now-
to you.
Unfortunately,
Well,
reality is
thanks.
coming to me now.
What's your big plans?
in early.
What are you going to do?
I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's 10.
Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark's time on the court together was more than simply a game. It was a generational moment as they reflected on their first Phoenix match. Taurasi didn't hold back when it came to the mood. The audience was electrified, and it felt like the final game ever. The excitement was genuine, and it was about more than simply basketball. It was about watching a torch be handed in real time. Diana talked admiringly, emphasizing how bizarre it felt to finally play against the athletes she had spent years watching dominate college basketball.
For you two to play against each other.
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe. And to be on the court and, the first game was in Phoenix, and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot, Like, we've been doing this for a long time, and to see Caitlin do what she does is, I think someone said the other day, I'm like, I want the season to start so I can watch you again.
Caitlin's approach was just as elegant, but with that distinctive edge. She recalled that Phoenix matchup as well, but this time it was personal. We were behind by about 10 or 15, but we rallied and prevailed. She recalled the pride in her voice, stating that the comeback wasn't just a statistic on the board. It was a turning point for her and her team to face a legend like Taurasi and win. That's what gives you confidence, and Caitlin made sure to mention.
It was like to play against D.
Well, I was saying, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time. And it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was our first win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Great.
What was it like to play Dean? Well, I was saying that we only played in Phoenix once, and it was fairly before the Olympic break. Of course, we had All-Star there as well, but it was a great game. I'm pretty sure we were behind by about 10 or 15 points and rallied to win. That was our first victory against a team that was over 500. Thank you. I appreciate that. But underneath the competitive fire, there was mutual respect and the moment grew beyond a single game to become a clash of eras captured in real time. Even though Caitlin and Diana are at different stages of their careers, their influence is eternal, and as they laughed and smiled throughout the story, it became evident that this was more than just lighthearted banter. Rather, it was the past and future of basketball sitting in perfect harmony.
Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but when you see that and you see those names come in, what does that make you feel like?
Caitlin, how thrilled are you about the addition of Stephanie White and the new head coach for the WNBA season? Sue knows Natasha Howard, Dana Bonner, and Sophie Cunningham very well. I mean, it looks like this roster is prepared to compete right now, which is simple for us to say there is a process to get there. However, when you see those names appear, what does it make you feel like Caitlin Clark is entering the new WNBA season with more than just momentum? She's stepping in with firepower, and when she talks about her redesigned roster, she couldn't hide her excitement. Stephanie White, the new head coach, Clark is familiar with the names and, more significantly, what they bring. But she is also aware of the difficulty that lies ahead with 7 new players and a short window to develop chemistry. These players include defensive dynamos like Sydney Carlson and Brianna Turner, shot makers like Sophie Cunningham, and veterans like Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner. Caitlin is accepting the fact that she is already in figure-it-out mode.
Well, I mean, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but you only have, we start training camp I think on the 27th, and then we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, it's more than half of our roster. That's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good, and I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, we added a lot more experience. In the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group. Even Kels, obviously it was being with the Fever through her entire career. She hasn't really had the opportunity to play in a ton of playoff games. So having that, whether it's Sydney Folson, whether it's DB, whether it's Natasha Howard, whoever it is, I think having that experience is going to be really good for us and that leadership in the locker room. So I'm excited.
When questioned about the widely shared off-season picture in which her arms were abnormally jacked, she revealed that she had been improving not only mentally, but also physically. Caitlin started giggling.
There's the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened there?
How did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on.
And there was the widely shared image of you brandishing your firearms. Have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle that caused this? Is the question that everyone is asking. Such as, how did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years. AI is getting out of control, come on. But then the truth came out. She acknowledged that she spent a lot of time in the weight room to feel more dominant on the court, as well as to look the part. She even identified areas for improvement, such as mastering the mid-range and adding a floater to finish through contact. It's obvious that she's not just training to stay competitive, she's training to take over.
What are you doing in the off-season, working on your game?
You're trying to get stronger, a lot of time in the weight room, and it's something I kind of enjoy, so it's been pretty easy for me to spend time in there and really work on that part of my game. And I think the biggest thing on the court is just that mid-range area. I got pretty uncomfortable in there when I would get in there, whether that's I didn't really have any floater. I didn't like taking a mid-range jump shot, so just getting more comfortable when I get my feet kind of into the paint, and honestly trying to just add a floater to my game, and finishing through contact and little things like that. But I think just going back to the weapons that we've added this year, there's going to be so many different things that we're able to do that I think it'll be able to make my life a little bit easier, and it should make everybody's life a little bit easier on our team.
Working on your game, trying to get stronger, a lot of time in the weight room, and it's something I kind of enjoy, so it's been pretty easy for me to spend time in there and really work on that part of my game. And I think the biggest thing on the court is just that mid-range area. I got pretty uncomfortable in there when I would get in there, whether that's I didn't really have any floater, I didn't like taking a mid-range jump shot. So just getting more comfortable, like when I get my feet kind of into the paint, and honestly trying to just add a floater to my game, and finishing through contact, and little things like that. But I think I was just going back to the weapons that we've added this year. Like, there's going to be so many different things that we're able to do that I think it'll be able to make my life a little bit easier, and should make everybody's life a little bit easier on our team. That level of self awareness is rare, especially for someone who's still so early in their pro career, but Caitlin's already acting like a vet. I kind of enjoy it, she said of the grind, referring to both the physical prep and the leadership challenges that come with a star-packed roster. She knows expectations are high, but she's meeting them head-on. Remember that time when Cheryl Swoops was saying that the Indiana Fever locker room is toxic?
People in the Fever, we're like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
At last, Caitlin Clark's confronted that directly.
That whole week was like, Indiana, they don't get along, all this. And I'm like, great. And then I'm like, this is the most together team I've ever seen.
Is that one of the hardest things for you as a pro now? Just seeing all the narratives like that one, that your team didn't get along, and just having to literally ignore it, deal with it, even though you know it's not true?
During that entire week, it seemed like Indiana didn't get along. I thought, great. But then I thought, this is the most cohesive team I've ever seen. Is it one of the hardest things for you as a professional to see all the stories like that one about your team not getting along and just have to deal with it like that, even though you know it's not true? She confirmed what we all knew all along, that Swoop's statements were just untrue.
It's something you kind of just become used to. It's like people think they know what's going on inside of your locker room, and they just don't. At the end of the day, it's just, the girls that you have in there, and then obviously your coaching staff, and that's all that matters. And honestly, the best thing about last year is we honestly had so much fun together. Yeah, we lost our first 8 games or whatever, but we wouldn't have won if we didn't have a tight-knit circle or a good locker room. And that's the reason we kind of turned everything around, is just we needed some time. We were a young group, and we figured it out. But yeah, it was really fun, honestly.
Caitlin Clark is aware of what it's like to battle UConn, and she recalled every instance of our 3 meetings with them. She mentioned games from the Phil Knight tournament to the Sweet 16 and, ultimately, the Final Four. Each time was a test, and Gino Arma's team always came prepared, pitting me against the best scouts. She claimed that you could tell how intelligent he is.
So when you play against a Coach Auriemma coached team, what kind of beast is that?
Well, I think they just are so disciplined. That's just, they're going to do what they do. They're going to do it really well. And also, I think for myself, facing his teams, they always had some of the best scouts against me. You can tell how smart he is.
Yeah.
He understands the game. He's coached against so many really good players, and there were games I would go into, and the scouts were just it was just come on, why are you going under ball screens? Why are you in drop coverage? But he just made it.
When you play against a coach like Arma, what kind of beast is that? Well, I think they're just so disciplined, that's just what they're going to do. They always had some of the best scouts against me, and there were games where the scouts were just come on, why are you going under ball screens? Why are you in drop coverage? But you just made it difficult like that? That wasn't just flattery, it was frustration mixed with respect, whether it was different defensive looks or elite defenders hammering her entire court. Caitlin made it apparent that UConn never made things simple. He was always carrying something in his back pocket. She also mentioned Gino, which turned every game like a chess stool.
Different defenders at me, and obviously having Nika Mule last year, she's probably one of the better defenders that I've faced. She's just up in your grill. She'll pick you up 94 feet. But then he just always has an answer, has different people, and I think that's one of the best things about him. He has one game plan, but then he has something in his back pocket that he can go to, and that's gonna bother you again.
She would present me with a variety of defenders, and last year I had Nika Mule, who is undoubtedly one of the better defenders I've encountered. She's just up in your grill and will pick you up 94 feet, but he always has an answer and has different people, and I believe that's one of his best qualities. He has a game plan, but he also has something in his back pocket that he can go through and that will annoy you once more, but it's not just the program. When asked about Paige Becker, Caitlin's tone changed to one of appreciation for her calmness and respect for the athletes. That's something you need going into the W, Caitlin noted right away. She commended Paige's composed, mature demeanor on the court, saying that nothing ever seems to shake her.
Watch Paige play, and you see her in the next level. What are the things that obviously she's going to take to the WNBA and it's going to translate instantly? And what are the things that, it takes you a couple games to get used to?
I think her poise, that's something you need coming into the W. It all hits you so fast. Is you're moving to a new city, you're trying to understand new teammates, you have a new coach, while you're trying to live up to all these expectations. And I think that's one of the greatest things about her game is just her poise and her maturity. And
she is capable of scoring on all 3 levels. Caitlin went on to say that Paige's mid-range game was among the finest she has ever seen, which is great coming from someone who has dominated at every level. However, Caitlin didn't stop there. She also mentioned Paige's versatility, noting that she can play point guard or off the ball, which will be fascinating next to her.
I think she'll honestly fit right in, so. That arena is fun to play in too. It's a small place.
Yeah.
It's loud. Honestly, they should move every game to American Airlines because I think Paige has that type of draw. She'll be able to bring those type of fans in. I know we're playing there one of our games. Hopefully the other one gets moved too. We would appreciate that, Dallas Wings, if you can move the other one. But
I love it.
When a discussion devolves into technical fouls, you know it's going well, and with Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Caitlin Clark involved, it didn't let you down.
Speaking of how much D loves refs and technicals and ejections, here's the time Diana got ejected and sent me this photo from the locker room.
Oh my God,
got tossed.
Got tossed.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, D, tell us.
Yeah,
Given how much D enjoys referees, technicals, and ejections, now is the moment. Diana emailed me this picture from the locker room after it was evicted. Oh my God, you got tossed. That's fantastic. Oh, please tell us what took place. With everyone admitting to their less than harmonious moments on the court, the program evolved into a humorous therapy session. Diana proudly donned her uniform and related how she was once tossed after picking up a tech in the first and third quarters. When it was time to leave, she laughed.
I think I picked one up quick in the first quarter, which is you're always doomed when you pick up a quick one. And then I picked one up in the third quarter and it was time to go home. So I took my ass to the back and chilled out, and my team got the win, and we went from there. But
How
I
many
had to make.
technicals did you get last year?
Say that again, Caitlin.
How many technicals did you get last year?
So last year, I think the limit is 7, and you get suspended.
Yeah, you got 6.